It's time for To the Max Sports, where we talk about sports. They're just two guys, Max and Drew, in a bar talking all things sports. Well, without the bar. And the beer. Wait, why aren't we in the bar?
Hello, and welcome to the Max Sports. Y'all know what time it is. It's time for
To the Max Sports. Us. And
speaking of us, we only ask one thing, guys. I want to thank Brother Bob. This is all his setup, all his doing. He lends his time, his money, his energy towards this little podcast of ours. All I have to do is show up like a pampered CNN host, kind of arrogant with an opinion.
Hey, they just fired their CEO.
Well,
CNN just fired their CEO.
That's a start. But anyway, Bob, we've been doing this. It'll be 2 years in July.
Something like that, yeah.
So do us a favor, guys. We don't ask for anything. We're not asking for money. Just hit that like button.
Though if you want to send money.
If you want to send money, we'll always take it. We'll find good use for it. But hit the like button for us. That really helps. The subscribe helps. You know, the whole deal. Just do that for us, and we'll continue to, I promise, each show put out something you did not know.
So, did you ever hear the story about Steve Young and stuff? So Steve Young, went back in his playing days, he said, he'd always get approached by people trying to hawk stuff or get into a vest. He would basically just tell them, send me a box of that. Just send me a box of it and we'll see.
We'll see what happens. That's funny. Hey, that's the way to do it, man.
Hey, yeah. I mean, though sometimes you may not get what you want.
Speaking of who got sold a box of stuff, imagine if you are, say, the 45th, 50th ranked player in golf. Okay?
Okay.
Envision that. You've won maybe a Tour 2 event. You're not the headliner name. But last year, some Saudi businessmen come up to you and say, if you join our tour, we're not going to give you mad money, but we'll give you $30 million to join our tour. And you're tempted to take the money, but then the PGA says, go ahead and take that money, go ahead and join that league, but you'll never be welcome back in ours. Or just out of patriotic duty, the PGA, the aura, the history that goes around it, you say, you know what, I'm just going to grind it out on the PGA Tour and leave that money on the table. Well, how would you have felt yesterday?
Oh, I would have felt like every player that was in that room with Monahan when Monahan told him about this. When players were calling him a hypocrite, when folks were basically saying the same thing. And, yeah, I would have felt like you cost me money.
And for those of you who haven't heard, we're talking about the Live PGA now being a combined event.
Well, that's the thing is we don't know what this means.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a few details that we do know. All the lawsuits are done. All the lawsuits are done.
Well, I think some have just begun, and I'll explain that in a minute.
It looks, and now the PIF, I forget what the P stands for. It's the investment fund, the Saudi investment fund. Now we'll have some rights of refusal as to future investments, but it doesn't look like these tours are going to merge. It just looks like this is an umbrella organization that'll sit above all of them. And it's not just the PGA and Live, it's also the DP World Tour as well is involved in this.
Yeah. Basically, the long story short, it is good for the fans if you're a golf fan, because now all of your players will play in events that they want to play in or can play in, as opposed to the division that was created with the PGA Live split. And I guess the PGA finally decided, this is about money, after they shamed so many golfers and threatened their careers. That's where I think you're going to see some lawsuits. If guys had $25 million offers on the table and they felt that they were threatened by the PGA as to their existing livelihood, I think there's going to be some compensation.
No.
Go do something.
No, I mean, there's going to be more money coming in, but I did hear someone whose opinion I actually trust the PGA Tour is now a wholly owned subsidiary of Saudi Arabia.
Well, you're going to see that more and more in sports. There'll be a day when, and I mean, I just follow stuff. China will probably own most, or the NBA. Who knows what's going on with tennis? I can see the Saudis already now going after tennis. Look how they're coming after horse racing. So it's going to be a global, sports are going to be a global event that aren't necessarily going to be an American institution anymore. That's just where we're headed.
And that's actually not a bad thing. I mean,
to an extent.
And I don't have an issue with the investment. I really don't have an issue with it, except for who it is. I don't have an issue with outside investment. I don't have an issue with more money coming in and it becoming bigger. I disagree with you that China will be a big force like Saudi Arabia. I don't know if there's that much money there. There's a lot of money in Saudi Arabia. Absent the human rights violations and the way that country denies people basic human rights, absent that, it's a meh.
You're talking about the United States?
Well, I'm talking about Saudi Arabia. So there's a lot of betrayal right now. If you're a PGA Tour player that stayed there, I think if you're Rory McIlroy, Monahan, if you see Rory McIlroy walking towards you in the parking lot at any tour event, you turn around and go back inside.
I think they got to do something because people accepted the live money. Now they're back in the PGA, and a lot of there's going to be some kind of, there'll be something. And I don't think this is completely settled yet. Doesn't really matter to me because you, me, anyone who's kind of a golf fan to an extent will be able to see the very best players playing in the very best tournament. So it's a win. It's a win for the fan.
Yeah. I mean, it's the format of live is interesting. The fact that those players will now I think the last objection to whether or not live receives world golf ranking points is done.
Yeah.
So if you're playing on the live, you're going to receive world golf rankings. That controversy is over.
So enough about golf. We don't want any unsubscribed people. We want subscribers, but we're going to talk about basketball, baseball. We're actually going to do some more trivia because stick around, see if you can answer the questions we can't, because we were 0 for 4 last week.
Yes, we were.
Ja Morant. Apparently the NBA has, according to the commish, more information that's going to weigh on his suspension decision. And the NBA is very, unlike our Congress, they don't leak stuff. I haven't heard one leak or any inkling of what that other information may be.
No, and I'm actually, I mean, they've finished their investigation. They've interviewed Morant. They've interviewed as many of the other people. They're ready to hand down their discipline. If we weren't in the middle of the finals, the discipline would have been handed down.
Well, that's what he said. He goes, I don't want that to distract from... Which makes sense.
Which also makes me think that this is not insignificant. Now, I've tempered what I believe is going to happen. Now, what I think should happen and what I think is going to happen are two different things. What I think should happen is I think you should get an indefinite. I think you should be handing an indefinite suspension until you complete some things. What I think is going to happen, I think is going to be somewhere between 20 and 40.
I actually may think, and see, I don't know what the other information is. I do know the commish got embarrassed. He's got a lot of egg on his face. This kid came up to his office, seemed pretty contrite, put out statements, and the commissioner took a chance on him, and he got burnt. And I think the commissioner is going to say, you may burn me again, but this time you're going to have a long time to think about it. So I could see anywhere from half the season to possibly the entire season. But, and that's all going to, we know we've got the gun situation. To me, that's probably 25 to 40 right there. And what else they have that they feel is not good is just going to increase the sentence.
Yeah, though Silver is historically weak on discipline. that he historically goes lower than what people expect. So that's the reason why I'm coming in at between 20 and 40. Even if there's more information, I would hope that if it's shorter, that there is some sort of strings put on that suspension, that we want you to complete certain things.
I don't think those can be done. Legitimate. You can't go down to Florida and take a few classes like he supposedly did. I mean, when you're in a full-blown rehab situation, which, he's a total image rehab situation right now, that takes some time, usually 90-day programs, 120.
No, I don't want him. I actually don't want him to go to a program. I want him to do actual community service. I want the commissioner and his camp to agree on an organization where John Moran can go to and see the damage and the trauma that gun violence brings to our communities. That's what I want to see him. Because that is the only way he gets sensitivity around this issue.
I mean, he certainly has a chance to change. He's still young, so he can flip this. He can flip the script, and hopefully he gets it. Because I watched the kid play last year in San Antonio.
Oh, he's a talent,
and he's really, really good, and the kids love him. I mean, we're in Spur country, and half those kids are wearing Morant jerseys.
Yeah, because they didn't know the names of the players on the Spur squad.
They know him because he's really good.
And next year, they're only going to know one name on the Spur squad.
Oh, they know more than that.
And they're going to struggle to pronounce his name.
But once they learn that name and the Spurs get all this national TV, you're going to know everybody.
Oh, yeah, very true.
So we'll see what happens with that, man. It's kind of an uncool situation.
25 to 20 to 40, somewhere between 20 and 40.
Okay, I'm going to say half season to the entire year.
Yeah. I was talking with someone, and I got to believe if I was a commissioner, I'd be having backdoor conversations with John Moran's team, not the Grizzlies, his team of agents and his lawyers, and saying, I want you to go this far. I want to suspend your player a season. I am going to not do that, but you are going to agree that when I announce 20 or 30, that you are not going to appeal it.
Yeah. Oh, he won't appeal it.
You want to bet? If it's a season, do you think he appeals?
I don't know if the Players Association intervenes on a player's behalf, regardless of their wishes. But I think I don't see that happening.
Okay.
But we did something that we did something the commissioner said he wouldn't do. We've discussed John Morant's possibilities before we talked about the playoffs. And I got to admit, Bob, we talked about the genius of Spoelstra, and I said there's not many head coaches I attach genius level to, because 95% of the time you give me a coach, and if he's got amazing players, he's a good coach. But what do you do when you don't have the talent? Only a handful of coaches come to mind. Your boy Shanahan in football, basketball back in the day, Larry Brown. You give me a Larry Brown coach team, it could be college, it could be high school, NFL, NBA, multiple teams, and the guy just put together winners. And Spoelstra, we talked about it.
Put Spoelstra in that category.
Yeah. Looks like he made the adjustment. He said, "We're going to let Joker have his points. We're gonna lock down the rest of the team.
We're gonna frustrate him and make it hard for him to dish out the ball." He had four assists. They have a 10-game losing streak when he has 4 or fewer assists.
Yeah.
They are 0-3 when Joker scores 40 or more.
Yeah.
So
they got the formula down.
But Malone's hearing all this. Not the Celtics. The Nuggets organization is hearing all this, and they're going, okay, now we need to adjust to the adjustment.
Yeah.
So I think they will. I was very surprised at Malone not calling a timeout at the end of that game. And talking about coaching decisions, Spoelstra basically instructing his team, do not foul, do not foul, do not foul, do not give a foul, do not give a foul.
Yeah, I mean, he's that sixth man right now.
Yeah, so I'm very, very impressed with what they were able to do. The Nuggets also shot themselves in the foot. If you watched a lot of that fourth quarter, they were giving up so many free points on shooting fouls.
And most of the games, if you look at, they're dominating all aspects of the statistical categories. They're just not closing the deal.
There was one interesting stat that I heard. In game one, the NBA has this weird stat about wide open shots. If you take a shot and there isn't a player within like 6 feet of you, it's considered a wide open shot.
Okay.
The Miami Heat were 5 of 16 in wide open shots in game one. The Nuggets had less than half of that in the entire game. Then the stat wasn't so much for me as they were missing wide open shots, as how did they have 16 wide open shots? That's a big thing.
I mean, that's telling.
So I think they're going to split in Miami, and it's going to go back to Denver for game 5. It's going to go back 2-2. We're looking at least 6.
Yeah, I had said 5-4-1. I'm out of the running, but you had said at least 6 and maybe even 7. I remember a couple pods ago. So.
I think it might go 7. If you had asked me between the NBA and the NHL, which one's going 7 and which one's going to be a sweep, this is not the series that I thought was going to end up going 7.
I mean, the line's changed now, but I don't even know what the opening in line was. But, man, I'll bet people that put money on Denver and a lot of money to win the series.
Their sphincter is really tight right now.
You got to be making meatloaf in their underwear right now.
Yeah, exactly. So, did you watch any of the Stanley Cup?
I've watched a little bit of it. Have enjoyed it. I thought their first best great chance for Florida. Help me out.
Florida Panthers
was that first game. They hit one off the high post. The goalie for the Predators made that incredible.
Oh, that was an insane save. And maybe that changes the game. Maybe it doesn't. I don't know. Game 2, the Panthers looked bad.
Yeah.
The Knights made them look bad.
Yeah.
At one point, the announcers were saying it was like maybe 3 or 4 minutes to go in the third period. That the Panthers only had like 3 or 4 players on the bench because the rest of them were in the locker room for major misconducts. I'm sorry, hockey player. Please don't hit me on the side of the road when you hear this. But if another player from an opposing team is holding someone or the referee is holding someone, not a good idea to swing a punch at them.
That's frustration.
That is frustration. And that's what the Knights do.
Yeah. Yeah, they just, their goalie's incredible. They're having a great run. I'm sure the city of Las Vegas is stoked right now. So you can't count either Miami team out, though. I mean, each time we've talked about it, we could come a week from now and it's Game 7 hockey. But I would say yes. The way it looks now, again, those are 2 games in Las Vegas. So let's see what happens at home. You know, there is a little bit of a home field advantage, I believe, in hockey, a la kind of football. But
yeah, let's
see what happens.
Okay, I still think it's going to be a sweep.
It's a sweep if they win in Miami, Sunrise actually. If they win there, actually it's not Sunrise. It's outside of Fort Lauderdale. But if they win that next game, then yeah, it's a sweep.
Okay, fair enough.
What else?
I don't know. No, I mean, we're in this weird ass limbo between NFL minicamp or NFL OTAs and NFL minicamps. The Jets canceled their minicamps. That was something I saw on the crawl this morning.
Cowboys receiver made the blotter and got released.
Yeah,
driving with the suspended. So always that Cowboy blotter news. If you're making millions of dollars, can't you afford to spend $60,000 a year on a driver? You would think so, right? Well, we got baseball around in the corner here. We're going to have the All-Star game in about a month. I'm excited as a Reds fan simply for the fact that we called up our number one major league prospect, shortstop named Dela Cruz, 6'5" shortstop.
Okay.
This ain't your daddy's shortstops anymore.
No.
I mean, back in my day, the shortstops were, little Davy Concepcion's,
Little guys.
5'10",
Little guys.
Gary Templeton, that size.
Yeah.
Ozzie. But now they're monsters. Apparently this kid's the real deal, though. So I'm sure my Reds will do. They'll develop him. He'll turn into a great free agent for the Yankees or the Dodgers.
Yeah. Yeah, probably.
You think I'm cynical?
Yeah,
The oldest, most storied franchise in baseball history, the Reds, and we perpetually suck, and we have an owner, Bob Castellanos, who doesn't give a rat's ass about the team. And it just
okay. Slow your roll there, Ohio boy. I don't know exactly the history, so I'm not going to dispute you on the oldest. But the most storied franchise in baseball?
Okay. Maybe that was yeah, okay. Well,
I have 3 teams that I can put above them without even breaking a sweat.
Well, we had a team that pitched, okay. Well, yeah, okay.
Yankees.
Okay.
Dodgers.
All right.
Cardinals.
Maybe the Cubs.
Well,
Okay.
the Cubs are storied for not good reasons.
We had the only guy to pitch back-to-back no-hitters, Johnny Vandermeer.
Okay.
We were probably the all-team all-decade other than maybe the 40s Yankees, the Big Red Machine.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm reaching because we suck and we always trade away our talent.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
Okay, if you stuck around for that, you've got to stick around for our sports rules trivia. We went over. Neither of us won, and for the brevity of time last time, we just called it a draw.
Yes, but importantly, neither of us won, but neither of us lost.
True.
Got to look on the bright side of life.
Kind of like the Ukraine-Russia war.
Yeah, well, the only bright side of that is if you're an arms dealer.
I'll tell you what, it's looking like a damn awful mess over there.
It's
Damn.
Oh, okay.
D-A-M.
Yeah, that's also the punchline to a fish swims into a wall.
Go ahead.
Damn.
Okay, enough of the bad jokes. All right, Bob, I'll go first.
Okay.
You pick. What subject you want? Baseball, football, pro basketball, or
Let's
golf?
go baseball.
Baseball. I'll try to find one that doesn't. Oh, my God, they're all the size of a small book. Okay, here's one. Baseball.
Okay.
There are 2 outs and a 3-1 count on the number 2 batter. The runner on third attempts to steal home on a very high and inside pitch. The catcher takes the throw from the pitcher and tags the runner for the final out. Who leads off the next inning? That same batter that was up or the next one after him? Three-one count.
Yeah, no, I get that. I want to say it's the batter.
You would be incorrect. It's the number 3 batter next inning because the pitch was high and out. It would have been a ball. The tag out was after the ball 4.
Okay.
The batter gets base on balls.
So it's an automatic base on balls.
Yep.
Okay. Well, I'm an idiot.
We're 0 for 5.
Wow.
I don't care. Pick one.
Well, no, you're picking one. Or you don't care what I'm going to pick you.
Doesn't matter.
Okay, we'll pick pro football.
Okay.
A kickoff is caught by the return man in the end zone.
Okay.
He returns it to the 1-yard line where he is hit.
Okay.
He fumbles the ball back. He fumbles the ball out of the back of the end zone. Safety, touchback, or should the ball be spotted on the 1-yard line?
Well, I think it would depend on who last touched the ball, but back of the end zone, what are my 3 options? Safety,
touchback, or spotted on the 1?
I'm going to say touchback.
You're wrong too, safety.
We suck.
God, we're good.
0 for 6.
Okay, let's just do 2 more questions each. Give me golf.
Okay. John is carrying 14 clubs. When he finds another player's club on the course, he puts the club in his bag but does not use it. John's hands it in at the pro shop when he's finished with the round. Does he incur a penalty for this?
No.
Carrying. Okay, we finally got one.
Woohoo!
He does not incur a penalty.
Woohoo! That's an answering the question based on the WWJD principle. What would Jesus do?
Yeah.
Jesus would pick up the club and return it.
There are probably times in golf I need to be more like Jesus.
What? Too many balls in the water? You need
like
to
George
walk
Herbert
across
said, you ain't trying if you ain't cheating sometimes.
That's NASCAR. Okay. Holy crap, what do you want?
It don't matter. The shortest one.
Okay. The pitcher knocks his own hat off while in a windup. What should the umpire do? What the?
Umpire do?
What the ever living?
I just think it's a continuation of play. I'd say nothing.
Exactly. Nothing.
Yeah.
As long as he pitches. I think
it's like a Seinfeld episode. Nothing.
I would wonder, though, if he's in his windup and the hat comes off and he stops, that's a balk.
Possibly.
Okay.
Okay, well, we're still undeclared winners, so stick around next week for some sports trivia. Shouldn't have any trouble stumping us. Until then, guys, hit like, subscribe, Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Google, all that good stuff.
And Spurs fans, tell us where you're going to have your draft party as we get Victor Wembanyama.
And leave a comment.
Peace out.
Peace out.